Hey everyone, it's Matt, and welcome back to the Director's Commentary series. We are now on episode number 6, and today I will be covering a more recent upload of mine about this now demolished, abandoned 80s mansion. Now, to start off, I have been debating with myself here as I have been recording multiple takes of this voiceover. Should I record it in a more normal speaking tone, as if I was just having a normal conversation, or should I do what I'm doing right now, which is this more softer, hopefully more relaxing voice? And I've kind of been jumping between the two versions for videos because I feel like both work in different ways. And for this series, I'm not really sure which one I want to stick to, or if I just kind of want to keep flip-flopping, but I do enjoy doing both. For this video, I feel like it might be more appropriate to do what I'm doing right now, which is the softer voice, simply because this video has a bit of a haunting feel to it, at least to me, and that is largely in part to, I think, two factors. One being that, of course, this house is gone. You know the context that this house is no longer standing and that it is an empty plot of land. So in a way, you're looking at a ghost. You're looking at something that was, but is no longer here. But if you went to the gates, you could still feel its presence if you were aware of it. The second reason is because we're in black and white right now. Of course, the original version of this video was not recorded in black and white. It was recorded in color, as normal. But when I was making this video, it was actually originally supposed to be a director's commentary like I'm doing right now. And if you watch that video, I've kind of already talked about this. But I mentioned that I was just kind of playing around with the footage, trying to add in my bonus footage because I went back to the location to film the gate, and it was just supposed to be bonus footage for the commentary. But then I started playing around with it, and I put it in black and white. And I thought it deserved a video of its own. Personally, I'm a really big fan of black and white, especially in the context of a video like this, or any video of mine where I'm exploring an abandoned building. And there's many reasons for that. I've played around with footage before and put it in black and white, and I've really liked how it looked. But there was just something about this video in particular, that really stuck out to me how well it worked in this look. And when I was making the commentary, I knew it could be a video of its own because it wasn't just a fun little look. I felt like it deserved a video of its own. When I went to the original house, there wasn't much color in it. Some places I've been to, there's been like bright green walls, baby blues, or maybe it's just a really sunny day and the sky is just really blue and there's clouds and all that. But when I filmed this video, there just wasn't much color. So, by putting in black and white, I didn't feel like it lost anything. In fact, I would say it actually gained something. Because this exploration featured a lot of shadows. I was using this light that I haven't used too often, but I do plan on using again in near future videos because it's just so, well, one, it's very effective, but it doesn't shine too brightly. It leaves a lot of shadows, and it worked really well in this house. So combining that with the lack of color and all the shadows in this house, I felt like it was totally worth making a new video and revisiting this house. And it's not very often I go back and revisit a video, as in making a whole new video in its entirety. But again, this one to me deserved it. But okay, I think that's enough of the black and white mention. I'll just talk about the exploration itself from what I remember it being like. I didn't know too much about this house, and I still don't. It's not the most grand or biggest of houses ever, but you can tell it was a nice house in its day. To the right of me, not this door, but the other door that would have led to the garage. And when I was filming this, that door was locked. I couldn't get inside. Or it was either blocked by something, I'm not quite sure. So I was unable to reach that, although I have seen people have been able to reach it before. I don't think there was much in there. But I did get to see most of the house, and it's kind of surprising that light right above there was not broken, because you can see everything else as we walk back into this main foyer. It's covered in glass, because there's a beautiful skylight right above there, which you saw, and of course vandals had to come in, and I'm assuming they threw some sort of rock at it or whatever. And every step on the way up the stairs and down the stairs is covered in glass. Basically, I wouldn't want to walk through here in running shoes, or a cheap pair of running shoes. Luckily, I was wearing boots, which you can see. Another point I mentioned in this video was when I was going upstairs, or before I went upstairs, I could have sworn I heard footsteps coming from the top left. And I kind of just stopped, which again, you don't fully see on camera, and you don't hear the footsteps in the original video. But I really thought I heard someone walking around. And I kind of just hesitated, and this is not the first time this has happened. But I don't, I'm already in the house. The filming is going mostly smoothly. I don't feel like leaving. If I see someone, I'll leave, but I didn't see anyone. So I went upstairs, went for more exploring, and of course I didn't see anybody. I'm not totally convinced that there was someone up here, but I'm also not totally convinced that there wasn't. I just don't know of many places where one could hide. One theory could be, it's a bit later on, comes up in a couple minutes, but I go into a room, and there's this door that's kicked in at the bottom, but it's closed. That's about the only place I could think of someone being able to hide here. And I don't think they would have been able to walk around with stealth, because one, there's glass everywhere, but two, it really sounded like they were wearing a heavy pair of boots, just like I was. But I guess that will remain a mystery. I'm sure I haven't been alone in every place I've been to. And I mentioned the skylight, but you can obviously see it was not just the skylight that vandals broke. They found pretty much every chandelier they could, which this house seemed to have a lot of them. And they found every chandelier and just smashed it, because there was glass everywhere, and you could obviously see them hanging from the ceiling, or what was left of them hanging from the ceiling. There wasn't a whole lot of graffiti in this house. It just seems like the vandals who went in were more destructive than artistic feeling, which is always a shame. That being said, I do believe the basement is pretty full of graffiti, so I don't know if I could quite say that. It was bad in both ends, but yeah, you can see right here someone kicked down the door. I really don't understand the mentality. Sorry, that's the door I was talking about before. But yeah, I really don't understand the mentality of going into some old abandoned place and just your first reaction is to just smash things. I don't get it. Are you angry? Are you, you're just having fun with some friends? Or, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't like graffiti much either. But at least graffiti, I could see, comes from more of a creative place. Although most of it is, let's face it, it's ridiculous writing or some sort of slur or, all kinds of different, just stupid things. But there is some graffiti you see sometimes, which is actually a little bit artistic, that you have to get a bit of a nod to. But I will never, ever understand coming in and just smashing things. I don't get it. Okay, so now we are approaching my sequence in the basement of the house. Usually my most dreaded area of any abandoned place to visit is always the basement, to which I don't think I have to tell you why. Although at least this house I wasn't really worried about structural damage, as in, falling through the floor. It was nice that way. But yeah, the basements, they're always dark. They're always the most creepy area, and just the area where you feel the most trapped. If you saw someone or something went wrong or whatever, that's usually the worst place to get stuck, right in the basement. Also, you can see what I mean by just the ridiculous graffiti. Not a surprise, I see stuff like that pretty much everywhere, but, still a bit of an eye roll. There was an original shot I actually cut from the video, which was that toilet you just saw. And when I went back in here, I just cut out, a few little shots, not much. I barely cut out anything, but I cut out a few shots. And that was one, just because, well, you can imagine, I lingered a little bit too long on that toilet, and I just felt like people don't really want to see the contents inside of it again. Unfortunately, I guess homeless people come here to places like this, and, well, I don't probably have to explain it to you what they're doing in there, but there's no plumbing system anymore, so it just rots there. It's really gross. But again, that's another thing I see a lot. You get kind of used to it, but yeah, I tried to spare your eyes this time. I cut that shot out. But here's something a little nicer to look at. I gotta cut to it first. But this little chart on the ground of the ABCs. I wonder why someone would have that. You'd think maybe they're a teacher? Who knows? We are now reaching a point in the video where my previous commentaries would have either been finished by now or it'd be coming to an end. But not this one. Not this video. This video is a little bit longer, almost 20 minutes long, and with each commentary of mine, I've been trying to tackle videos that are longer and longer, because I do want to visit, longer videos and shorter videos. And I've realized that as much as I can yap, as much as I can talk to myself, as in you guys listening, for periods of time about random things or about the video itself, I find it is not that easy to ramble on for this long, especially once I'm past the 10-minute mark. So I'm always just trying to think of new things to say. To which, yeah, I noticed that chair thrown in the wall, and I always like that shot. Again, stupid vandals, but that was pretty interesting to see. And you can see there's not much left in this basement. There's a few things, these couches, that would have been a nice fireplace at some point. I thought the ceiling was really interesting, actually, because it had a lot of fluorescent lights, it looked like. Like, it almost looked like it was the type of ceiling that you'd see in an office building or something like that. And then it's funny because you contrast to rooms like this, where it looks like a torture room. So essentially the same thing. Anyway, beyond that stupid joke, I love the sinks in this house. Like these sinks in the basement, because there's just something about seeing a sink in the corner of a room that is really creepy. Like something out of like Resident Evil 7 or something like that. It's kind of that kind of vibe. But okay, I think at this point we've seen the basement, and I'm leaving the basement, getting out of this house, to which we are going to see the outside in a minute. But before I talk about that, I do want to address one little thing, which was here in the next shot. Yeah, this little envelope that was empty. But I did find lots of cards upstairs, which you saw as well. So this house did have some relics of the past, long and forgotten here. But not this shot of the outside, I mean the original video. So when we go back outside, the sun was kind of setting in the sky. Like, it wasn't sunset, but it was later in the afternoon, so the sun was lower in the sky, and that, you can see, was perfect. Not just in the original video, but for this black and white version, because again, really shows all the shadows. I wonder who left that gum, and why they just kind of left it there. I don't know why people. That's just another stupid thing. I don't get that. Why would you take 3 pieces and then just leave it on the step like that? I don't know. Anyway, you can see there was this little shack in the back. This little area was just filled with cobwebs, and it was very grimy and dirty. The surrounding area, at least at some point, was pretty much all just farmland. So this would have been a nice plot of land. Now, they are, well, there's really no farms on this road anymore. But now they are just turning them into a bunch of houses, which happens a lot where I'm from, farmland being developed. And this place is no exception. I imagine that gate, which we've seen various times in this video, will be gone, and there will be houses everywhere. So not the quiet road like it used to be, that's for sure. I imagine when they lived in this house, they definitely would not have dreamt of it being like it is now. It's very busy. Okay, so we are now officially reaching the end of the video. And this is always the point where I like to thank you for watching and thank you for listening. We will close out with this one final shot of this gate. And I will see you in the next video.